kill parsnip? He's weird, sure, but that's a little much, don't you think? What? No, don't be ridiculous. No. I was just going to, like, ask if you'd, I don't know, throw him in a bush and tell him to leave me alone. I stared at LaRose, slightly dumbfounded. You want me to assault him? What? I continued to stare at her, dumbfounded. Not, like, badly. You've spoken to him, right? Just push him into a bush really carefully and be like, hey, leave LaRose alone or the boys will get you, and that should be enough to spook him. Are you okay? I'm fine. Look, living next door to Parsnip is slowly killing me. I used to drink 30, maybe 40 units of alcohol a day, now I'm up to maybe 60. Look, will you just give it a go? I can't live like this much longer. Should we throw Parsnip into a bush? Bully him? Okay. Okay, I'll just scare him a little. I don't even think I can kill him. Enough to make him stop bothering you. Exactly, it won't take much to spook him, he'll be fine. Wait here. I'll get you a disguise so he can't take you to court. Not that Parsnip knows what court is. LaRose disappeared into her house, eventually returning with a big cardboard box. Here, a mask. That's a box. Yes. But look, I cut some eye holes in it, so it's a mask. Oh, I'm glad that we're doing both of the cardboard box mask bits in one run. I was starting to notice how little creativity everyone in my life had when it came to stealth. I walked down the lane, trying not to admit to myself that I was only doing this so I wouldn't have to go back to the basement. Parsnip had clearly woken up after a sugar coma. I could see him outside his cottage talking to the daffodils. He seemed to be stringing his friendship yarn around them and congratulating them on winning the trial. Ah, jeez, am I really doing this? I approached Parsnip, praying he didn't see through my disguise. Hi, Trixie! Fuck! Please, no bad words. I was about to throw Parsnip into a nearby bush and I realized there was none nearby. Panicking, I pushed Parsnip over really gently. He fell over as lightly as a feather. Leave LaRose alone? I don't know who that is, but okay, haha. I stared into his unblinking eyes. I'm going to go now. See you later. Oh, okay, see you later, Trixie! I shuffled away awkwardly without turning away. Parsnip just stared at me the whole time, grinning his usual grin. Eventually, I shuffled far enough to reach LaRose's cottage. I accidentally walked backwards into her, much to her displeasure. Hey, careful. Did you do it? Kind of. I don't think he really got what was going on and he knew who I was. No. Oh, thanks for trying. I better get painting. I'll see you around. I said I'd been fucking around for too long and reluctantly got on with my business. I stood in front of the abandoned cottage. Can we just never get closure about that guy? Because I want more. I want the Parsnip deep lore. The gateway to Carcosa, according to Nikita, at least. I didn't trust myself enough to try to doubt her. Or to truly doubt her. I needed to make sure Nikita hadn't done anything here. This cottage might be the only place I could stop her. The upstairs seemed pretty much as I left it. Okay, this is the same. Hey Trixie, I'm going to do the thing tonight. Can you come down and help? Can it wait? I have stuff on. Nope, I need to get those pastries made and running around all week. I mean, I'm definitely already behind schedule. I'm doing it tonight. You don't have to come, I can do it alone. Problems won't work anyway, right? No, I'm coming. Wait for me. I felt like I should go deal with Nikita, but I realized there wasn't anything I could do to prepare. I was exhausted and could barely think. All I could do was wait for tonight, the full moon. I couldn't let Gregg perform the ritual alone. Sure, it might be pointless, but if not... Gregg needed someone there who could deal with this kind of thing. At least could try to deal with it. I'm not late, am I? Trixie! You're not too late, I waited for you. That was a relief. On the run here, I'd been fearing what I might find. This was my last chance to stop Gregg from doing anything that I might regret. Having meddled with dark forces, I knew it wasn't worth the risk. Gregg, before you do anything, are you sure this is a good idea? Just, like, think for a moment. If it is real. Do you really want to make some kind of deal with an ancient, unknowable woodland god? I mean, we've come this far, right? And if this is what it takes to save the bakery... Yes, I'm doing it. Oh, okay. I'm not much of a negotiator. But look, I got everything ready while you were on your way. I pointed to a mixing bowl of cheese bake ingredients. Now all we need to do is add a hair. I'm super self-conscious, so you should look away. Haha. So like, just turn around for a minute. I can pull a hair out, okay? Gregg, I know you're not putting your hair in it. Huh? I read the book while you were out doing crimes the other night. I know the ritual needs blood, not hair. You don't have to hide stuff to make it seem less fucked up. I already know it's fucked up. Oh, sorry. I just didn't want you to worry. Okay, here goes. They picked a knife out from amongst their utensils. Gregg let out a little whimper. I felt bad for them. A small drop of blood fell from his finger onto the bake. It seemed to sink into the cold pastry and disappear. Gross. Gregg nervously placed the tray into the oven. I saw the effigy was already inside. We were ready. So, are you sure about this? I mean, it's our last chance to stop, just in case it is, you know, real. I'm sure. I can't let my bakery shut down. I have to take the risk. You can go, Trixie, if you don't want to be here. Part of me wanted to, most of me, in fact. But I had to stay, whether it was to make sure Gregg was safe or to satisfy some kind of terrible curiosity. I still don't know. I'm staying. We started this together and we'll finish it together. Pretty sure I stole that from like every movie ever, but it seemed fitting. Yay! Thank you, Trixie. I was briefly worried Gregg was going to hug me, but fortunately the excitement of the ritual seemed to keep them distracted. With a trembling hand, Gregg reached for the switch and flicked the oven on. I'd been expecting a whoosh of flame, the sound of chanting, and the opening of a portal, but instead the food just seemed to bake normally. As normally as a bowl of cheese and blood sat next to a wooden skull could bake anyway. Huh, that was anticlimactic. We need to let it bake, obviously. Geez, Trixie, don't you know anything about baking? Haha. Was it already clarified a few days ago? No, I didn't. So, like, we just wait? I guess so. We can talk or something for a bit. It shouldn't be taking too long, right? We spoke for a while. It must have been a few hours at least. Occasionally, Gregg would check the oven. Smoke still billowed out of it, but fortunately the bakery's extractor fan seemed to suck it all up. I don't remember anything we talked about. My mind was completely overcome with worry. I feared that at any second there would be a bang and some terrible being would explode from the oven with a screech and rend me and Gregg to pieces with its claws. It's been like 3 hours, Gregg. I think maybe it's time we admit it isn't going to work. I put on my best disappointed face. Before Gregg could say anything, there was a loud bang. Eek! Ah! Our heads shot around to the oven. Something was knocking on the door from within. Oh geez, Gregg, this isn't good. Another bang. Well, I mean, we should probably let them out if there is anyone in there. Gregg nervously pulled on the oven's door handle. It swung open. A strange, cheesy membrane sack tumbled out of the oven and landed on the floor with a disgusting wet thud. It should have been revolting, but I couldn't help feeling hungry when I looked at it. It smelled delicious. Oh, I mean, that isn't quite what I was hoping for. There was a hideous noise as the sack split like a wet tissue. A pastry paw tore through the thin membrane, and from inside a delicious-looking, friendly pastry Gregg peered out at us with big empty eyes. Pastry Gregg! Pastry Gregg! I looked at Gregg, expecting to see revulsion or fear, but their expression was one of delight. The strange pastry golem blinked at us vacantly. Pastry Gregg? I love you, Pastry Gregg. Oh, my baby, aren't you gorgeous? Let me help you up, sweet pea. Gregg held out a hand, and the strange being daintily took it and shakily pulled itself to its feet. This wasn't what you wanted. Gregg, this isn't right. You wanted infinite pastries, right? Not, a creature. Yeah, no, this is okay, this works. He's still pastry, right? Sorry, it's still pastry, but you're not gonna eat them, are you? Gregg gently took the hand of the creature, lifting it as if to kiss it. Then without warning, they took a bite out of it. No, don't eat him! Or them, or it, or I don't know. This is distressing to me. Don't eat them! No! Gregg! I almost screamed, half expecting the golem to yelp or attack, but it stood there motionless, cocking its head slightly and smiling at Gregg with its strange smile. Oh wow, you really are a tasty one, aren't you? I felt queasy. The golem certainly looked delicious, and yet something about it felt wrong, very wrong. Gregg lunged for the creature's belly, clearly in need of more of it. Gregg, this doesn't make sense. You're gonna sell your clients this thing? Yep. Or, no. No, I think I'll keep them. They can live with me. I don't want to get rid of them. I watched Gregg gorge themselves on the flesh of the pastry golem. That's fucked up, man! You can't do that! You can't eat them! Cheese and sauce ran down Gregg's body as they tore into the abomination. With every bite, the creature would heal, and it was an endless supply of pastry. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. The ritual had worked, kind of. Trixie, seriously, you should come try this. Gregg waved me over without even turning to face me. Something felt wrong. The more I stared at the golem, the more my mind rejected it. Its emotionless face vacantly stared at Gregg as they stuffed handfuls of pastry into their mouth, lost in their gluttony. I felt a chill run up my body, and for the first time I noticed a metallic smell. I became acutely aware that it had been present for some time. My mind blanked. I stood alone in the dark forest clearing. Was this a dream? A vision? I still don't know. In the woods behind me, I could hear the rustling of leaves and an ominous rumbling, as though the very earth shivered in fear. I wanted to call out to Gregg, but I felt as if I'd been punched in the stomach. I could only let out a pathetic whimper. A feeling of dread had grown into a fist-sized rock in my throat, and my mind was as stormy as the clouds of holly. Trembling, I turned my head to the side, desperate to keep whatever was behind me in the corner of my eye. I saw it. A tall, thin shape stood what must have been 20 meters behind me at the edge of the clearing. The figure appeared armless, and its highest point was a tangled mess of antlers. The worst of all were its eyes, 2 small pinpricks of amber light enough to light its deer-like skull and wide, unblinking eye sockets. The eyes bored into me, the smell of metal turned to the smell of death, and I was sure the terrible being knew I could see it. Ah! I don't like this. I let out a scream and looked away, straight back into the bakery where I locked eyes with the golem. It was no longer a creature of pastry. Its body was slick and red. It was a creature of meat. I could swear I saw its mouth open into a gummy grin. And yet Gregg continued to engorge themselves on it, pulling slithers of flesh from the body and forcing them into their mouth. The usually beautiful fur was stained with blood and bile. Trixie, for real, this is amazing. You should try some. Actually, you can get your own one. This is mine. I stepped backwards. The scene in front of me was too horrific to look at. I shout at Gregg. Gregg, you need to stop. No, I'm good. Gregg continued to stuff their face with handfuls of bloody meat. This had to end. Gregg was under some kind of spell. I had to save them. I grabbed the first weapon I could find, an egg beater. I hoped it was called a beater for a reason. I charged forward and shoved Gregg. They fell to his head with a yelp of pain. I slashed through the air with the egg beater. It struck the golem with a horrid squelch and sunk into its soft flesh. It smiled at me, seemingly unbothered. Die! Please! I stabbed the egg beater into the creature again and again to no avail. It didn't care. Something struck my side and I tumbled over. Gregg had recovered and jumped me. We both rolled across the floor. I became acutely aware of how sharp their fangs were as they pinned me down. For a moment I almost surrendered, but then I realized, that's British, that I was twice the size of the Gregg and pushed them off of me. We both managed to stand up and back away from each other. I'd lost my egg beater in the tussle, but looking at the golem, who remained gazing into the distance, I knew it wouldn't be of any use. Trixie, leave them alone. They're mine. I need them. Gregg, don't you see what it is? It's not stuff you should be eating. It's... What if I was imagining it? I looked at the meat golem. Its shiny flesh glistened in the bakery's lights. It looked real, and yet we had both seen it as a pastry. I see. I'd done it. Gregg was seeing things right for the first time since this terrible creature had been birthed. Or so I thought. But it's okay. I like it. They licked a trickle of blood from their cheek. They lunged at me and shoulder barged into me. Despite their small size, the surprise meant I fell to the floor once more. Gregg was going for the golem, hungry for boar meat. I scrambled to my feet, intent on stopping Gregg from getting another mouthful. I felt bad doing it, but I managed to trip Gregg over. They let out a little whelp as I tumbled to the floor. Owie! The golem stood there gazing at me. While Gregg was recovering, I started to push it towards the oven. I paddled along on its clumsy feet, seeming unaware of what I was doing. I bundled the golem into the oven. It seemed happy to oblige, staring at me with the same vacant expression it had been born with. I'm really sorry, horrible meat abomination, but this is probably for the best. I switched the oven onto the highest setting and leapt away, crashing to the floor. The solution to everything in this game is arson. The golem was born in heat, but I hoped it could die in it too. In retrospect, I wish to come up with an action movie one-liner. Revenge is a pastry best served burnt? I don't know. It might have lightened up the situation, but I guess at the time things were a little chaotic. My little lovely sweetie. Trixie, you... I was worried Gregg was going to rush into the flames pouring from the cracks around the oven and hurt themselves, so I was relieved when they rushed to me and started beating me with their tiny paws instead. Yeah, okay. Gregg, stop. It's done. No more meat. Ew. Then we stopped tussling, for we'd both heard the sound coming from the oven. From within the burning chamber, we could hear the golem singing to itself. We let go of one another and stood together as the mournful song continued. We listened for what felt like days, mesmerized by the beautiful sound. And then, as black, rancid smoke began to leak from the cracks all around the metal door, it slowly died out, ending in an impossibly long and beautiful note. I felt a serene calmness fall over me, the first time I'd felt truly calm in years. Trixie, what happened? I didn't really know where to start, but I did my best to explain everything. Gregg seemed to remember only fleeting glimpses of what had happened after we'd heard that dreadful knocking from the oven. Trixie, I'm so sorry for what I did. That wasn't me. I mean, it was, but I'm not normally selfish in meat and hitting you and eating meat. What did that thing do to me? I don't know, Gregg, but it wasn't your fault. The thing seemed to put some kind of evil spell on you. Well, I'm sorry anyway, Trixie. I shouldn't have dragged you into this mess. It was silly. Don't worry about it. Summoning a terrible meat golem is an easy mistake to make. It wasn't, but it seemed to make Gregg feel better anyway. For what it's worth, you're still my friend. I guess you'll have to work out some other way to keep up with those pastry orders. Yeah, that's going to suck. But hey, we both learned an important lesson. Isn't that really the important thing? Don't take shortcuts, believe you can do it the right way. Gregg looked confused. Huh? No. Don't make dark blood pacts with the woodland gods unless you want to end up eating yourself. Geez, Trixie, haven't you been paying attention? Huh, true, shortcuts rock. Exactly. There'd be no more stealing, though. Yeah, sure, Trixie. I'm not sure I believed them, but baby steps, I guess. So you'd be okay to help me get my orders finished just for a few days while I work out something new? I know you're not super into baking, but you could help move stuff and clean and serve customers if you want. That way I can concentrate on just making sure I get enough stuff made. Sure, Gregg, I can help a little. I wasn't sure I could promise anything. Peering out of the bakery window, I could see the full moon rising. I just stopped Nikita or Paris trying. I should probably get going, Gregg. I know it probably sounds pretty trivial after what we just saw, but I need to go help my friend with something. Boring uni stuff you wouldn't be interested in. Oh, I mean, sure. I can clean this place up myself. The coffee machine wasn't damaged during our tussle, so I can just drink a ton of that and power through the night. I guess I'll see you soon then. You have a good night, okay, Trixie? Yeah, definitely. See you, Gregg. Good night, Trixie. I waved goodbye and started the long walk back to Daffodil Lane. I hoped this wouldn't be the last time I saw them. The lane was quiet. Looks like Nikita hadn't opened the gate. Yet, at least. I walked down Daffodil Lane towards the abandoned cottage. It must have been about 1 or 2 in the morning. I feared I was too late, but there didn't seem to be any sign that Nikita had been successful. I walked past Parsnip's cottage. It was quiet. He was probably tucked up in bed asleep or whatever he does at night. Of course, I knew his secret. Parsnip was a servant of Carcosa. Is that true, or are we just saying that? A follower of the King in Yellow. I know now that I had to destroy him to save us all. After, or rather, if I dealt with Nikita. The malevolence of Carcosa had to be exorcised from this place to put an end to this for once and for all. The abandoned cottage seemed unchanged. Could it be that Nikita hadn't come? My hopes were shattered when I stepped inside. Okay. I remember the things I brought with me. They may be the only way to end this without a fight, which I was pretty sure I'd lose, or with Nikita winning, which I'm pretty sure would end with me dead. Okay. Do you want me to wait? Sorry, Nikita, it's too late. I know you haven't been chosen. I just sound at least somewhat sure of myself. Nikita looked pissed. That's really cute, Trixie. You finally learned to stand up for yourself. But surely you realize the smart move was to know your place and be my underling. I can wait. Just, yeah. We'll see if the ending goes differently this time. Actually, can you guys hear me while I'm typing? This is a good time. Oh, you totally can, like a lot. Okay, well, maybe I'll mess with that while we're waiting. You didn't hear any typing? You hear typing now? Okay. Oh, nice. It looks like it's picking up on my mic, but the settings are working. You can hear a tiny bit. Okay. Just because if I eventually play a game that needs the keyboard, then it's going to be annoying. Do I sound? Hello? Oh, hello? Hello? Okay, I tried to put another filter on and I filtered out all of the sound, so I'm just gonna leave it the way that it is. But surely you realize the smart move was to know your place and be my underling. I think I'm okay without that, actually. I was gifted with something you were not. I held the yellow sign high above my head. Okay, so we've just completely lost it in this version. That's good. Nikita smirked. Really, Trixie? The yellow sign? Look around you. She lifted her arms up and spun on the spot. The world's covered in the sign. The king is everywhere, and he owns us. And he chose me. Yet his servant gave me this before you had even read this play. You were never graced with this sign, you just found those left over for others. Nikita looked almost taken aback. Wait. Okay. Nikita looked almost taken aback. He chose me, Nikita. No, he cursed you with it. Maybe she was right, I certainly wasn't happy to have received the yellow sign. But I could see Nikita was cracking somewhat. Now shut up and tremble in your pathetic little boots as I complete my ritual. Nikita threw her arms into the air. Nothing happened. Gah. I might know why your portal isn't opening. I pulled Tabby's Psycho crystal from my bag. It sparked in the candlelight. Whether it was actually doing anything I didn't know, but Nikita seemed taken aback. What? Another crystal? Is this a trick? What are you playing at, Smith? Two sacred crystals in close proximity while they neutralize each other, right? You didn't know that. No, this is a trick. You're trying to trick me, Trixie. I won't fall for your Trixie tricks. I won't fall for your... She stopped abruptly. She knew I was telling the truth. I guess I have an honest face. No. How did you... Oh, you obviously didn't read Reaching New Worlds very carefully. I expected better of you, Nikita. I smirked, a sight at which I was worried would make Nikita attack me right there and then. Her two least favorite things, being wrong and me. Fuck! Nikita stomped her foot onto one of the candles, crushing it. She was getting dangerously angry. So, Miss Knight is in league with you too. How am I surprised? She will get what's coming to her. This is my destiny, Trixie. It was foretold. She lifted the king in yellow above her head dramatically. So did the sacred crystals not work the other ending? Your crystal power is useless against him. He chose me, Trixie, above everyone else. Crystal or not, the gate will open. And you will pay for your treachery. Nikita flicked through her notebook, desperately searching for any detail she might have missed. I could see her resolve breaking as she started to run out of ideas. This was a prophecy. It was foretold. She had finally realized I had stopped her evil ritual. We didn't have the yellow sign? Yeah, but we had the sacred crystal. Outsmarted, I can't be. The heir to the Carcosa must be without flaw. Oh great king, this can't be. Smith, how did you... Her face broke into a blend of fear and betrayal. I was lied to. She fell to her knees, tears streamed between her fingers. And are you forgetting Nikita? It was me who was given the play. You had to beg me to give it to you. Trixie, you were the one he chose. None of his whispers were true. He played me like an instrument. Like Carcosa, I've been shamed, my vanity taken and crushed. Trixie, She broke down into tears. Despite everything, I pitied her. Finish the ritual, take your place atop the broken throne. But show me mercy, I beg of you. I'm not taking the throne, Nikita. I don't want it. And I think deep down, neither do you. Let's just go back and get some rest. We can pretend this never happened. Obviously that wouldn't happen, but I wanted to keep her calm. It looked like this terrible week was finally coming to a close. I slept well that night. Me and Nikita intended to burn the king in yellow as soon as I finished writing the statement. When I suggested torching the play, I was worried she might snap back into her mania and try to stop me. But she had nothing to say. It was like being outsmarted had totally crushed any desire Nikita had to keep up her mad charade. I'm pretty sure she'll be back to her old self once the election comes along, for better or for worse. Still, she seems to have developed some small amount of modesty, and I swear I can see a hint of respect for me in her eyes. Which I'm not entirely sure I like. It's uncanny. I've managed to keep Nikita distracted with her election work. I told her not to write my report. I wanted to do it myself, hence why I'd appreciate some more time to finish it. I never dealt with parsnip. I just wanted to get Nikita back to uni and get some rest. I don't intend to return to Daffodil Lane, and I can only hope the King in Yellow's influence over that strange rabbit will end, along with the play. I've been swatting off worried messages from Gregg for the last 2 days. I think they know something is up, but as soon as I submit this form, I'm going to meet up with them. I should not speak to them of the King in Yellow. That's a secret between me, Nikita, and you. I need to talk to them properly about the stuff with the golem and the horrible antler tree. We both have to come to terms with the fact that the dark secrets of North Acre is not only true, but are also far more horrible than anyone imagined. And that their terrible god now knows me and Gregg as foes. The fear I feel at the thought of its retribution is matched only when recalling that night with Nikita. And the King in Yellow. Despite everything, I have to admit, there is still a temptation to open it. To finish reading it, The King in Yellow. Okay, so that's the different ending. I don't feel like that was because we went with Gregg. I think that was because we talked to Poppy. Not Poppy, that's the developer. We talked to Parsnip. Great, I'm done. Just gonna take this down to the office and I can start work. Trixie, show me your statement immediately. I just realized I'm relying on you not to get me expelled with whatever you wrote on this thing. Jeez, Nikita, how did you get in here? The door, Trixie. Wait, what is this? Why are your walls covered in writing? Did I accidentally exit before we got to the actual ending last time, or is this just bonus? Oh, huh, I hadn't noticed that. Excuse me, but what the fuck? Whatever, Trixie, either you've lost the plot or this is one of those memes that you like that I just don't get, said Nikita, who doesn't know what a meme is. I mean, this is like an after credit scene. I just didn't play it last time, and I'm not sure if it's because I ignored it by accident or because I didn't actually trigger it or something. Also, this word limit on the form is like 300, so... Look, Trixie, I respect that you've actually put some effort into something for once in your life, but as well as being written on the walls, this is way too long. What a waste of time. Last time we sent it to the admin. Okay, so it's just a different scene then. You can clean it up and I'll write you a less shit statement. One that will actually get read and not get us arrested in the process because no way have you held back from talking shit about me. I'll just say that you had trouble working this week because your albinism made working during the heat wave difficult. There, saved you 50,000 words. Okay, Nikita. Well, time to get to work. Just as soon as I finish reading all the new Cyber Drake Coolio reboot theories online.